It's ANIMU time! Hello and welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the figma number 540. It's Chika Fujiwara from the anime Kaguya-sama Love is War. Love is War? It has a question mark. Anyway, the ever-loving character that even if you haven't seen the anime, which I didn't, you've probably seen the dance. If you haven't seen the dance, go check out the dance. It's one of the most fluent animation, beautiful looking, and it just draws you in. Also, Chika is like on a bunch of memes, so yeah, this character is cute, energetic, and that's why I had to get the figma. Also, as you might notice, this box is really different. You don't have the window and whatnot, which I don't really know why. We also have like real cloth on the figure. But before I talk even more about what's on the figure, let's actually take her out of the box. So, out of the box, this figure actually is in her underwear, which is a bit naughty, but you know, I'm keeping that for later actually, just keeping you on your toes, but we'll get to the fan servicey part. First and foremost, the size of the figure stands at about, let me set it on the ground, 13 centimeters, a little over that to the top of the head, which means we are going up to 5 inches tall. Size comparisons. Here's Jalter, Faustlander Ronin, the SH figure art Son Goku, Neka Michelangelo, and Darkseid. For your overall look and detail, oh my god, the face sculpt. I love the face sculpt. Look at these eyes, look at those eyes, look at this happy face, the big open mouth. Although, as far as the mouth goes, it seems kind of weird because it's just kind of open. You know, it's not angled up as a smile, so it's still beautiful, it's still lovely, but then we have the ribbon in the hair, the one which is just floating around, have a bit of bleeding down there, but you can barely tell. And then obviously you have the pink hair, which has not the greatest amount of detail, but it shouldn't, because in the show it looks fairly simplistic. Now, the big attraction of the figure obviously is the school uniform. I have some really mixed thoughts on it. The first thing, looking at it, especially from afar, I feel like it should be tighter. Now, it wraps somewhat nicely around the chest and the torso area, but here it's just like too wide. Like, it really needed to be just a little bit more. And I mean, you could play around with it, and it's not the hardest thing to tighten this up in the back if you just get this together a little bit more. And this is, by the way, how it's connected, how you put the figure in there. It's very simple. Take the head off, take the hands off, and I recommend just taking the torso off. Slide the upper part in, put the head, put the hands on, and then you slide the lower half and you put the torso back together. That's how you do it. But anyway, how does it even look like? As far as the dress or the school uniform goes itself, the one thing that's kind of bothering me is the collar. That one seems to have a lot of unclean edges, and I'm not too happy with that. This piece over here, by the way, this ribbon, is also just kind of glued on there, and it does stay in place as such, but it's also not super clean in that regard. It's very small, but I don't know about it. I don't really know about it. I mean, the plus point is that you can play around with it and put it on any other figma, whichever you want, because since it's a little bit larger, just by a teeny tiny bit, you have the option to do more of it. And also, by the way, she does not have any hole in the dress, so you can't put her on the base the regular way, but they thought of something for that. The sleeves have a little button over there. Once again, the white on it is just kind of weird looking, and it seems like it's a little bit dirty over there. No, it's still fine, but I like the little button over there and the fact that it's shiny, keeping it together nicely, and actually also keeping it in place, and it doesn't seem to have any issues with the articulation as well, which we'll have a look at in just a second. But you know what time it is? It's sponsor time. It's actually like a light blue, very beautiful pantsu. I enjoy that we have different color pantsu. I mean, it's still simple, fairly basic molds, even though it seems like to have, I don't know if every pantsu has that, but you have like a little bit on the edges here, so good pantsu. And down to the socks, which have like a weird gray line over here, which just like where the colors didn't mesh so well. It's not really super clean. And down to her shoes, wabaki, like the shoes you wear in school. She has some regular ones, but that's how it came in the box. So in order to show you the articulation, I went back into underwear mode because it's way easier to show you obviously the joints. And I mean, what we have here is first and foremost a lovely body sculpt since we're at it. There's the boobage, actually pretty nice and detailed. While the underwear isn't really nice and detailed, but you know, at least you got the paint on there and the soft plastic pantsu and a nice butt. So with that out of the way, actually the articulation. The head is on the ball hinge with another ball packed into the back of the hair. So it does tilt side to side, lovely, and it would go all the way around, but the hair clashes with it if you lift it up, and I don't want to break anything off. I don't want to scratch the figure. So moving on to the shoulder articulation, you have the ball joint in the chest area and the ball hinge on the shoulder itself, so you can bring that up and also swivel it around. You have a simple ball hinge in the elbow and another ball hinge in the hand, can bring that up, down, and also swivel it, obviously. The chest area is quite nimble, but doesn't really get the greatest range of motion, I guess, because of the big boba. But, you know, it's classic, simple, basic stuff, and also can be swiveled around. The hip joints can have some good motion. Back and forth, side to side. Be careful not to get the pantsu squished in there, as you can tell, but you know, the side to side movement is pretty darn good. And I feel like you can shift this. Okay, I'm doing this hip movement and I was just like realizing what I'm doing, so that was not on purpose. Leg moves out, leg moves forward, leg moves to the back somewhat, can rotate it on the ball, and then you have the ball hinge in the knee and another ball hinge in the foot, brings it up and down, and you can rotate the entire ball. And we seem to have that a lot recently, and also has a beautiful pivot. For the accessories, let me get the boring basic stuff out of the way. You got the Figma back included with every Figma, and also you got the Figma base, which I still have in the packaging. So that's how it looks, because I just have one standing to the side. And you do not get this front piece, which most Figmas also have this, not with Chika, because you have the claw. As I mentioned beforehand, she does not have a hole in the dress in the back specifically for the base, and that's why they put on the claw. And it's actually a good claw because it's not too big, it's fairly tight, and you can also tighten it up with a screwdriver, and it just goes around the body. And I have her a little bit undressed, and as I'm telling you, really stays on there. Have her a little bit undressed because I forgot to check one thing. She does have a hole in the back though, so if you open up the dress a little bit in the lower half, you could potentially, I mean definitely still squeeze the regular base in there if you really want to do that. So that's that. Moving on to the front hairpiece, which is only here because it has a hole. And what's the hole for? Well, glad you asked. It's for the detective hat, which I can't grab right now. We have this, nice and detailed. The paint on it is good for the most part, I feel like. Yeah, sure. Looks fine to me. A little bit over line over there, but you know, forgivable. Then we have the shoes, the other pair of shoes, the one you just wear outside and not in the classroom. Obviously have two of those because there's 2 feet. And then for the face sculpts, which are lovely, sunny, radiant. Got the open eyes and the winky face. I mean the winky face and the closed eyes actually. And then you got the worried face or panic face or whatever if my camera would focus and if my ring light would stop shaking. That's pretty good. We have even like the small detail on there, which I guess is some kind of tears, or I'm not really sure about it. And also there seems to be just a smudge on there, which is unfortunate. Then for the hands, we have very, very super standard things. You have the fist hands, you got the open hands and the palm hands, and this one, when she does her wrap, what you also have to have when she does the wrap is the check it out card, which is a dedicated hand, by the way. I love the fact that they made hands just for that. You got one for the check it out card, you got one for the magnifying glass, which actually I think magnifies. Wow, it's beautiful. It's actually cool looking. Very nicely done. And finally, you have the pipe fitting with the detective hat because she's a detective. Detectives smoke pipes and they wear hats. That's how that works. Final thoughts on this Chika figure. I mean, obviously the main aspect, the main problem, or main gain, depending on how you look at it, is the school uniform. And hey, I'm just gonna be 100% transparent on that one. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. As I was saying, I wish it was a little bit tighter and I wish it was a little bit cleaner around the collar. For everybody else, I feel like it really comes down to personal preference. I can see some people absolutely hating this idea and other people probably being happy about it. So that's neither here nor there. What I didn't mention though, there's no wires or whatsoever, so that doesn't really allow you to pose the dress in any way. I feel like it could also help like tighten it up. And depending on how you move it around, it's kind of just a pain to readjust the dress also. So again, I'm not sure on it. I mean, the main figure itself looks great, looks bright and colorful, and you also have a nice amount of accessories. I feel like you have the essentials, you have the most important things you need to represent the character and recreate some scenes from the anime. So what does that actually mean? Final thoughts on this one? Only recommend it if you actually like the school uniform. If you hate the cloth school uniform, this is not obviously going to change that. And other than that, it's just, I'm saying, I'm on the fence. It's a 50-50 for me as well. I still like the figure in general, but I can't really wrap my head around the whole school uniform thing, which it is what it is. So this is like a partially recommended, as I can't really figure this out and I don't want to ramble for another 10 minutes. So that's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Chika wants.